Cause none of my niggas average. Hop in that whip and we smash it. Fuck it, they just gotta catch me. Cause none of my niggas average. Hop in that whip and we smash it. Fuck it, they just gotta catch me. We bout that action, cause none of my niggas average. Hop in that whip and we smash it. Fuck it, they just gotta catch me.
Hey, what it do, you guys? Y'all know who it is, your boy J28, man, and welcome back to the Nothing Average podcast. Hey, look, today I got somebody that's absolutely special. International pro football player and my personal friend, Jamaal Dorsey, in the building, man. Tell them people, introduce yourself, man. Just let them know how you doing.
What's going on? My name is Jamaal Dorsey. This past season, I played football in Germany, in Dusseldorf, Germany, for the Dusseldorf Panthers. From Washington, D.C., born in D.C., grew up in Northern Virginia, so really excited to be here. I'm happy for the opportunity, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. The minute that he said, hey, bro, let's do it, let's lock in, I said, got to do it, man. It's crazy, man, because a lot of people don't really get the opportunity to chase their dreams like you did, man. So before we really get into this shit, y'all know how we do. Let's mental health check, man. Just anything you want to get off your chest, just talk about it, man. How you feeling today?
That's a good one, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
good, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's important. I think as men, we're not really used to, especially black men, not used to just people saying, hey, man, how are you?
Yeah, man.
You know, we used to checking in and making sure things are ready to go. But when somebody's like, how are you? That catches you off guard a little bit, man. I'm all right, man. You know, daily struggles, going through different things.
Absolutely.
You know, change is hard for everybody. I don't care who you are, but I'm maintaining, you know. So I'm real big on my faith, stuck with that, you know, and that gets me through whatever I got going on. But I'm good, man. I'm blessed. Truly blessed.
I love it, bro. I love it, man. So look, that's something that I really like to stress on this podcast and on this platform, because like you said, man, a lot of people don't really talk about those kind of topics. So they don't want to talk about it. It's an uncomfortable conversation for them. So we're gonna really get into it, man. So what actually made you get into football? Like, let's talk about your journey into football.
That's a good one. You're gonna have to buckle in for that one, right? So, all right. So I played football at a little school in Western PA, Teal College, up in northwestern Pennsylvania. I got recruited to that college to wrestle. And so I wasn't on the football team when I got there. And so I remember, you know, I had met some people who were on the football team, and I had walked into the coach's office and asked if I could join the football team before that season, my freshman year. And he said no. He said, you know, we've already recruited people, you know, I appreciate your interest. That's it. So that season went by. You know, this part will be quick, I promise, right? But that season went by. I went back into his office at the beginning of the next season. I said, hey, is there any opportunity? Maybe I can play football. And he said, didn't I tell you no last season? And I was like, yes, sir. And he said, hey, you know, you could play. And so I got on the team as a defensive tackle. So I would be wrestling in the winter, playing football in the fall. And so I did that throughout my whole college career. And then once, you know, going into my senior season, you know, I had been working out in the summer, just with some people from back home, some different people from the area, you know, who either have professional experience or played at big schools and were just training in the off season, you know. So I really had just like some small aspiration to try something after college. Yeah. Didn't really know where to place it. And then going into my senior season, I actually got hurt. So I separated my AC joint pretty bad.
Damn.
Yeah, so man, one of my boys, Julian McClain, man, you know, he had just come off an injury. I ran a flat, caught the ball, turned, good form tackle for a dude this big, right? You know what I mean? And so came right down on my shoulder, separated my AC joint. So that was hard to come back from. You know, so there was a lot of other tribulations that happened. And so, you know, long story short with that, I actually ended up losing my senior season. So I wasn't able to play for my senior year. You know, there were some issues with my family, and my mom, wonderful lady, strongest woman I've ever met, single mom. You know, at that time with her profession, there was a lot of uncertainty, right? And so she actually lost her job during that time. And so as a result, you know, we went through a lot of different personal family struggles. You know, our house got removed and things like that. So I stayed in school one semester too long. And so after I kind of slowly recovered from this injury, going into my senior season, the NCAA ruled that I had been in, you know, school one semester too long.
Yeah.
So going out to the first full pad practice, you know, coach pulled me aside and he said, hey man, like NCAA said you can't play, and, you know, and so, you know, that was quite a blow. You know, kind of went through the rest of that year. I was really upset. Afterwards, I still had an aspiration to still do something. I went to the NFL regional combine in Baltimore. I went to a couple CFL combines. Those you don't get invited to. You kind of sign up for it. And so you pay to go to those things. So I went to a couple of those and nothing panned out. And, then I kind of started my life. So I got into working, got into the same job I was doing for the last 10 years at the same company, wonderful company. But how I got to this stage. So about just over a year ago, one of my college teammates who's from Germany and plays in the highest league in Germany now, he happened to be in DC. And so he was visiting. And, we linked up, he came by, we went out for a little bit. And I remember I was talking to him, we were having some drinks, and I said, man, I think I could still play football. I think I could do it. I still be in the gym, you know what I mean? I'd be in the gym every day. I was working out every day, and I was like, I could play. I know I could play. And I swear, he looked at me with a straight face, most serious face, and he goes like, no, you can't. He said, no, you can't. He said, because you don't do the things that you need to do to play. And then from his perspective, me saying that while I got a bunch of drinks in my hand is like shading what he works very hard to do. So he said, no, you can't. And after like a minute or so, he was like, man, if you think you could do it, go for it. And so we proceeded to have like a good time. That was like the last time I really drank that much. Man, that was like one of those movies. Like you see like people going out, like The Hangover. It was like that kind of time. I remember I woke up the next day, worst hangover I've ever had. And I looked in the mirror and, I like washed my face and I was like, he's right. Like, he's right. I don't do the things that I need to do. Right. And immediately it's like something woke up. Immediately. I was like, if I'm going to do something, I got to change a lot. And so I stopped drinking. I stopped going out. Like a lot of my friends will tell you, like it was almost immediate. Like I wouldn't have any drinks. I really wasn't going out. I was already pretty regimented with my meal plan and working out, but I locked it in, so wake up every morning at 5:30. I was in the gym at 6, go straight to work, had all my meals scheduled. I get home, set everything up for the next day. And it was just that routine all day. And so here's the big thing, right? I hadn't played football in 10 years. I graduated in 2013. So I hadn't played football in 10 years. I didn't have any film. I didn't have any contacts. I knew one person over in Germany that played football. But I was like, this is something that I want to do. Partly because somebody told me I couldn't, and because now I've got a passion to do so, right? So that's where I really took to kind of social media and short form video and photography and things like that.
Trying to push it. I feel
Trying to push it.
Yeah.
Trying to document the work that I was doing, because I may not have a lot of film and stuff like that, but I got a lot of creativity, so I'll put together these little like short form videos with my workouts, a lot of pictures and things. And then I would tag all the teams that I could find, the different leagues in the area, and I'll tag it. And for a long time, nobody looked at it, bro. Like even if you go into the messages where shows are all tagged, it's just nothing for a long time, man. And that's when people were like, Jamaal, what are you trying to do? I said, I want to play football.
Absolutely.
I want to play football. They're like, you still think you could do it, man? Like you a little older, you ain't played in 10 years. I was like, there's something in here that hunger was there. There's something in there, man. Yes, I could do it. And so I carried on like that until one day I put up a video, tagged all the teams, same routine. And one day I got a DM from one of the biggest teams in Europe, happens to be in Germany. And it was a link to the invite to their combine, to their tryout, right? So immediately I registered for it, immediately, because that was the first time anybody responded, right? And so that team actually just won the ELF, European League of Football. They just won the ELF championship this last year. And so I registered for the combine. I was excited. I was like, man, this is finally something, right? And so then I had to think about, wait a minute, this tryout's in a couple weeks, and this tryout's in Germany. How am I gonna get there? And so I was talking to a couple people, and so one of my friends had the idea, is like, man, you should start a GoFundMe. And nothing against GoFundMes, but I'm not that type of person that goes like this.
Here it goes. Yeah.
I'm not like, I want to do it on my own power, right? And so, that was a humbling time for me too, because I had people tell me like, hey, sometimes you need help.
Absolutely.
Sometimes,
everybody feel like they can do it alone.
There's going to be a point where you can't do it by yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? And to step into that next area, I did that. So I went out, I was very vulnerable, went out very honest about what I was trying to do. Had a number that I was trying to get to. I did all the math and like, this is what it would cost for me to get there. And bro, I put that GoFundMe out and I had that money in less than 72 hours.
Dang.
I had that money in less than 7. There were so many people that were like waiting for an opportunity to support me.
Something. Yeah.
And it wasn't even the money. What really struck me was how many people really jumped out the seat to be like, if there's anything we can do to help, like let us know.
How many people? Tell me how many people.
I think my phone wouldn't stop ringing for like a day. Like people who didn't want to do it straight to GoFundMe. Yeah. Like people would hit me with the Apple Pay or the Venmo, this and that. Like people I haven't talked to in years. Like people, our former teammates that had still been watching. You know, people that were like watching at a distance and like still inspired. They're like, hey, I want to contribute to that.
Absolutely.
So, bro, I went and I bought the ticket. I ordered my hotel, you know, or my Airbnb, you know, had everything set up. I was ready to go, you know, and so
that is love.
It was super love.
That's love.
And then, you know, like every good story, right? You got to go like this, right? So I'm ready. I'm riding high. I'm getting myself ready to go to this tryout, right? And so the day that I was supposed to fly out, right? Well, not supposed to. I did, right? So the day that I'm flying out, I kept thinking it was weird. I was like, it's weird that I registered and I haven't heard anything from this team. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any type of confirmation or anything. So I'm on the train, right? I flew out of Dulles, right? Shout out to Dulles. A lot of people don't like it. I like it, right? But so I'm on the train. I'm on the metro from DC to Dulles, and I'm just looking at my phone, bro. Yeah. And I happened to look into my email, didn't see anything, and I was like, let me just do a search. So an email had come in that morning from the director of player personnel. Yeah. And the email had said, hey, after further review of your application, you know, we can't offer you a position to try out. So they basically vet people, right? We thank you for your interest. Yeah. I'd already collected money. I'd already bought the tickets, right? I'm already on my way to the airport. I got my bags with me, right? Damn. And I was sitting on that train. It was like time slowed down, bro. It was real slow. It take about, right, without any delays, it takes about 8.5, 9.5 hours to get like from DC to Germany. Right. And that went by like this, bro. It was just a daze, man. I had headphones on. I don't even remember what I listened to, watched. None of that, right? Damn. So I just remember thinking, I've come too far, right? You know, to turn back around. And so I get off the plane, I get to my Airbnb, and I'm just sitting there, right? And I had a few days before the trial. I wanted to show up just to give myself time to beat the jet lag, maybe get a couple workouts in and get myself ready. And that entire time, I just sat in the Airbnb. I prayed, you know, I called a couple mentors of mine, you know, really talked, and I kind of settled on this. I was like, if you're going to tell me no, you're going to have to tell me to my face.
Tell me to my face.
You're going to have to tell me to my face. You know, absolutely. So I put a lot in there. And the morning of the tryout, getting to the end, right? The morning of the tryout, I think it was at 9 a.m. So I got up at 5. I hopped on a train. It was cold in December. Hopped on the train, went over to where the tryout was. And in the snow and the cold and it was dark, I got to the venue where the tryout was. And I was standing out there. And I got there literally a couple minutes standing in the dark before the very first coach showed up. So the coach's car pulled up, you know, he's in the car. A couple other, you know, people who work with the team, a couple other coaches show up, and then they start walking toward the front. And so they just see me standing there, right? So one of the coaches asked me, he's like, hey, you know, what are you here for? And I kind of just usher over to them. I'm like, I look at the field. He's like, oh, you must be here for this. Where are you from? I told him DC. He's like, and you came over here for this? I was like, yeah. So we were having a small talk, this and that. Some more people showed up. And then they opened the venue. And one of the coaches asked me, hey, do you want to come inside and get warm while we set up? I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, boom, okay. So I go in there. We go inside. They're like, yeah, just hang out over here. There's a workout area. So I just took my stuff off. I had a workout shirt. I just started getting a workout. Started moving, started stretching, started lifting. You know, I'm like, as people are walking by, they're looking. They're like, what position do you play? I'm like, I'm a fullback. And they're like, yeah, you sure are. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so then all the other players show up. Fast forward to actual, you know, signing in for the registration. Coming 9 o'clock, somebody came around the corner and said, hey, your position group's getting ready to go out. You should go up in there and sign up. I'm like, or you should go up in there and register, get your stuff. And I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah. So this is where it gets good, right?
All right, yo, this the part I want to know.
This is where it gets good, right? I already told you, you're going to have to tell me no to my face, right? Right. So I go to the front. This is either where this train stops or some miracle's gonna happen, right?
Yep, something's gonna happen.
And so I walk to the front and somebody goes like, hey, what's your name? I told him my name, Jamaal Dorsey. I said, where you from? Washington, D.C. What position? Fullback. They looking on the iPad. Nothing. No name. Looking on a paper, no name, no registration. Because it's not there. I'll never forget this. Time slowed down again. The person sitting in front of me looks down at this paper, looks up at me, picks up a pencil and writes my name in on the bottom.
No way.
Yeah, writes my name on the bottom, gives me a shirt, gives me a number, and says, go into the room, get ready for the workout.
No
and then that's how I got into the combine.
No, listen, man. That is the perfect example right there. Is faith without works is dead, man. So you can pray about something, you can talk about something, you can say that you do it, but most people go get it, and that's the difference between a lot of people. That separates you from the 99% right there, And a lot of people don't even know this, but I met you at a party.
Yeah, man.
Of a mutual friend.
That was a good time, too.
Of a mutual friend. And it was kind of crazy, man. It was like a little game night that we went to, man. And it was wild. We had fun. We had drinks, like you said, we were drinking and all that stuff. It was fun, man. But who would have knew that I would be that? This is two guys right here who.
And what's crazy, too? And I always think about it, right? Because I see, you're using this and that, and like, J28, my number, and a number that if I can help it, I'll never change.
That is ironic. That is ironic.
I mean? So Jamaal 27, J28. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, listen,
it works out.
That's it. That's the homie.
It works out, man. Like the path you took was absolutely amazing, man. It's phenomenal to even think about like how far you went to chase your dream, man. And most people that I talk to that sit on this couch with me, you can't even tell a story like that,
right.
Because I ain't just gonna say me, but even with other podcasts, man, most people don't know how to take those steps. They just want to say, oh, well, I'm gonna go here and talk about whatever. Nah, man, we want to hear like that's the stuff we want to hear. You feel me? Like, cause it's motivational. It gives us purpose to keep going. It gives us a reason to keep going.
It's crazy too because and there's a couple things that I learned about myself on a journey like that. And so even after the tryout. I go out to the tryout, have a good time. I think I had one of the best showings I've had personally. Because at this point in my life too, I had never been that mature, that disciplined,
right?
All of those things, and it finally came together. Even after the tryout, there was a whole like fan community of that team that was trying to figure out who I was. I was getting messages all the time. What ended up happening is I didn't make it. I didn't make it onto that team. You know what I mean? It's very hard as an American player to break into a lot of these teams. You know what I mean? Especially as a fullback. You know what I mean? That's not the sexiest or the most premier position. You know what I mean? So like, it's very hard. So that team had already had that position filled.
Yeah.
And when I talked to a representative from the team, they called me to give me the feedback. He was like, if you really want to play, you could maybe try to get onto a smaller team. And my immediate next question is, can I use you as a reference? And he said, I'll do you one better. I've already referred you.
Damn, that's how it works.
A couple minutes later, I got on the phone with the head coach. A week and a half later, I was on the phone with the president of the team. And 3 weeks later, I signed a contract. You know what I mean? But the big thing was this, right? Because the dream, I remember Ice Cube, I think it was Ice Cube, I could be wrong, right? Somebody got fact checked me, said that if you're not willing to do it for free, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So at that point, because they had offered me so late, there wasn't any more money that the club could offer me. So they asked me straight up. It was like, hey, we want you on the team. We got, set you up in the apartment, but we can't pay you. And that right there, I was like, I will play for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I played this entire last season for free. You know what I mean? I played for free.
The essentials though. The essentials is what matters.
I had an apartment.
Yeah.
I had a gym. I had a shower. I had water. I had God, and I was good.
That was it.
And I was good. I was set.
See, the people don't understand, man. They don't understand. You have to put in work for what you're trying to get to, man. Like you got to take those steps, man. And if you're not willing to give something away for free, like. That right there, you giving away your talent for free. You feel me? It's gonna come back in return, man. It's gonna be a beautiful thing in return. And you told me like the next season's about to come up pretty soon.
So how that works over there is I don't know what team I'll be on. You know what I mean? But I do know that I'm working every day. I get up, I train. I do the same things. I recover. Recovery is real big on me. Like I do the cryo and all that. because whatever opportunity presents itself,
you gotta be ready for it.
Yesterday's price is not today's
Absolutely.
price. You know what I mean? But like, because you getting the 10 years on the shelf last year, and so this is a different opportunity for me. So wherever I go, whatever opportunity presents itself, I think all of that work, this hunger, that stuff that woke me up in the middle of the night, that's good. That's where it's going to really pay off.
Absolutely.
So, I'm excited about whatever opportunity.
Man, I'm happy for you, bro. Like I couldn't be more proud. Like I said, where I met you at to where you are now is like it's completely different. You feel me? And I love the dynamic, bro. I love the transition, bro. And it's from me and everybody that said nothing average, bro. We're absolutely proud of you, bro. Thank you for even coming here, taking the time and coming to speak with me, bro. Is it's a big thing for us. But I really want to know, like, let's really get into it. What's different between being over there and being over here in the U.S.?
Oh, boom. First off, it'll give me a little sip, right? So the biggest thing is like, I mentioned to you, I used to want to be a photographer, right? So I look at things like, kind of in that lens sometimes too. What really struck me about Europe, and Germany and some of the other countries there is you've got a country, you've got buildings in that country, castles, villages, roads that are older than our entire nation. So just walking around like certain like small villages you may find yourself in, certain places in Europe, like immediately I think of like Prague, some places in Germany that I went to, like the castle, the Disney castle. Yeah. That's a castle in southern Germany, you know what I mean? Called Swan Castle. So Schloss Neuschwanstein, that's how you say it in German.
You speak
that's
German?
it. Yeah, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, you know what I mean? I speak a little bit, I had to pick up a little bit, When you start speaking German over there as an American, like there's an artist over there who's real big in Germany. People don't know him here. It's Apache 207, and there's a song called Roller, and I learned the words to it. And so we'd be in the clubs, like the team would go out, and I start singing the words, and if you look around, people be like, "How do you know this song?" And I'm like, "Hey, Apache's like that, man. I had to learn the words." But so what I'm saying is like you have places that is just so steeped in history.
Yeah.
You can feel it. So like going to that castle, and so it's just a beautiful thing to see. And then, like I was telling you earlier, like things make sense over there. In Germany, nothing's open on Sunday. Like some things are open, but generally you don't work on Sunday. Right. You spend time with your family. You go to church. That makes sense. And so even to the point where like, this is what was funny as an American. If I'm walking on a crosswalk, I'm going to walk when I see the space. I'm going to try and get to the other side. Over there could be no cars for 2 miles. And if that thing is red for not walk, they're not walking. They're not walking. They're standing right there just
waiting for it.
The Jumanji Stampede could be running behind them, and then if it is red for not walk, they're not moving, bro. Yeah, so
they must be big on like jaywalking and stuff over there.
Oh man, it's a ticket. I thought people were kidding. They were like, "No, you'll lose your license for that." I was like, "My driving license for walking across the street?"
Jeez,
yeah,
for real?
Yeah. So there's rules like that, but it was just nice. Like the food is better for one because there are rules about like how they make the food and stuff like that are so strict.
Right.
So you go over there. I was over there however long I was, right, from April to September. I lost like 30 pounds. Like 30, 35 pounds. Like I was like, cool.
I've been to England, right? And the food in England was completely different. Even when I went to Greece, the food was so different than how it is over here in America.
Damn, how was Greece?
Like, it's beautiful, bro. It's beautiful. We was in Suda Bay, Greece when I was in the Navy. Went to Suda Bay, Greece twice.
Damn.
Beautiful place, bro. Beautiful. The women
One of my
there.
old teammates is Greek.
Man, it is so
shout out to Leon.
Nice over there, bro. And the food is just so high quality. The dude, we went to this burger spot in Greece, and he would have fresh buns delivered every morning, fresh meat delivered every morning, and that's how he would cook. It was a burger spot, a little burger, hole in the wall burger joint.
Bro.
It was so fresh, bro. Like,
you wake up to an alarm clock in the morning?
No.
Right? You just wake up?
Pretty much.
All right. So the first couple of nights in Germany, you just wake up. You ever see like cartoons where people wake up to like a smell?
Yeah.
Bro, it's bread. In
oh
Germany.
my
like, they make
God,
it,
bro.
So you saying the bread, it reminded me, the bakeries like make the bread fresh every morning. Wake you up like this. You'd be like, where is it?
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Like, I'm trying to find it. But
little guy on a cart just driving down the way, and he'll deliver the bread fresh to you every morning. I'm like,
that's what we need here,
bro. Like, I wish we got that here. You get bread that's been sitting in that shit for like 3 weeks.
You go to Panera Bread, you don't know if it's a roll or a frisbee back there. I don't know what's going on. You can't cut that. That's plastic.
Yeah, man. Like it is so different, man. It's something about the dynamic of being overseas, like the culture is different, the feel of it is different. And you said everybody's nice. You feel me? They're not mean. You don't wake up and have to be like, what the fuck is gonna happen today? Like it's different, but
there is a such thing as like traveling internationally while black. You know what I mean? 'Cause like if you tell like, you know, no shade at anybody, but if you tell, for example, like somebody who's not black or white person, right, about your experience in a certain country, it might drastically differ from their experience.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Man. And I'm no different, right? You know, so
yeah.
I will say this, of the places I've been, right, and this is only of the places that I have been, including America, Germany to me has been one of the best places to be a black man. Germany has been one of the best places to be a black man. Here's why. First off, people are genuinely curious about you because as an American, not a whole bunch of us walking around. Definitely not a whole bunch of black Americans walking around.
Absolutely.
Outside the military bases and things like that. But people are just curious about you. So they'll come up to you and say, hey, what are you doing here? And being from the States, you'd be like, "Well, I can't be here.
I can't be.
What's up? Like, I'm trying to enjoy my time." They're like,
you gotta be real skeptical.
No. You're from the States. Like, come hang out with us. Hang out with us. You know. And it's just funny. I went over there. I told you I wasn't drinking, and I had met like some people in a bar, and they were like, "Come hang out with us." And they're like, "You want to drink? You want to drink?" And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm not drinking." It's like, "Yeah, get him a beer." I was like, "No," I said, "I'm not drinking." It's like, "Yeah, I know. I didn't order you vodka." You know what I mean?
You ain't.
So I was like, "All right, I'll take the beer."
This is low shelf for us right here. Damn, man.
You know, but people are nicer and, just people on the street to wave and this and that. But then, like, you come back here and, like, I might wave to somebody, I make eye contact, and they look at me like crazy. Man. It's just
a funny story, right? Like, you can go over there and talk to somebody just random. And, you ain't really got much to worry about. But, I was sitting in my car right down the street just like 2 days ago maybe. And then some random guy was like, hey, what's up, bro? Like, what's going on? And we were talking, and he was like, bro, can you just take me to 7-Eleven real quick? Cool dude, man. But he was from Ghana, and he'd be like, look, man, like, I got this situation going on. My car, I had to sell his transmission to get money. He just lost his job, this, that, and the third. But just because he's Ghanaian, like, over there, their culture is different. Like, if they needed something, they're going to talk to you.
Right.
But over here, he was like, man, I be talking to people just random, and they be looking at me like he a threat.
Crazy.
Yeah, like he's a threat or something. And I'm like, bro, like, come on, man. We I might be a little lighter than you, but let's be
we
real.
Here.
Yeah.
We here. I got you.
But he was a cool dude, man. Cool. Like, I took him to 7-Eleven, bro. We came back, had a little conversation, bro. And, come to find out, he is cooler than most of the people I know now. And it's just a little wild to me, bro, just how people think. Like, over here, you have to think with a certain consciousness, just walking around. But being over there, it's like you can think just a little bit more freely because people ain't just out
relax.
to get you. Yeah,
you
people ain't out to get you like that, man. So you can appreciate that. But I want to know how do you keep yourself motivated as an athlete, day-to-day gym life?
Man. So for me, the biggest thing is understanding that I'm at the end,
right.
And like the hourglass and the sands that are in that are running out. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that, I can't do it, but that means just purely based on age and time, right? I don't have a 10-year, career ahead of me. I don't have a 5-6 year career ahead of me. I got maybe 3 bomb-ass years left, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially the way I feel right now, I got 2 amazing years left. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get one more. Buy 2, get 1 free type stuff. You know what I mean? But really staying focused on what is the goal. Right. What is the goal, and everything with intention. Everything with intention. So when I go to the gym on Monday, for example, Mondays, this is the goal for today. I have to do these things. I have to do these plyometrics. I need to sprint. I need to run because this is the intention. And I'm taking, the learns and lessons that I got from this entire last season.
Right.
You know what I mean? After having not played football in 10 years. What worked for me, what didn't work for me, what struggles that I had, and how can I prevent that,
right?
Going forward. And so everything with intention and just really being rooted in that and just understanding that this is a slow game. I may not have a lot of time left, but the work is very slow.
Right.
And so being patient and giving myself grace. Giving myself a lot of grace because I'm my own, I think we all are, especially when you chase a dream, you're your own worst critic, right. And so I'll look sometimes and I'm like, damn, I'm not as strong as that. I'm not as strong as I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm not as strong.
Yeah.
I put 365 pounds on a bar and I did
That's
it.
crazy.
I did it one time. Damn, I'm not as strong as I need to be because I know somebody. He know who he is. That would put 400 pounds on a bar and just move it like it's butter. And I'm comparing it to that.
325.
You know what I mean? So like, give myself grace to say, hey, when I was in college, in my prime, I'm in my prime now, but when I was in college playing ball, I wouldn't even been able to dream about the weights that I move around now that I'm being hard on myself about.
Right.
You know what I mean? So giving yourself grace, understanding that you've done a lot, that I've done a lot to get myself to this position, and it's going to pay itself off, and just relaxing.
I like that.
So every day's a new day.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what's the most, like, let's talk about your gym life. What's the most you've benched?
365 has been the most that I have benched ever. I had never been able to do it, and I've done it more than once. So it wasn't just like a one day. 365. And I know a lot of people's like, oh, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
Wait till you're 35. See if you can do it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm 27 and do 325. That was my max. You feel me?
And that's a lot.
Yeah. Nope. Ain't doing it.
Yeah, but I did, and so I think like even if you watch like the NFL combine, they'll do the 225 rep test. And so the other day at the end of my workout, I had one of my homies from Germany. He called me on WhatsApp and we was video chatting for a little bit. Shout out to Isaiah, right? I was like, Isaiah, watch this, man, because I gotta rep this out. I gotta see where we at.
Right.
And I hit 225. I think at the end of my bench set, it was like for 22 or 23. You know what I mean? And so like, there's a range when they're evaluating like NFL players, you know what I mean? And so if I could break into the little bit of that range for my position group, that's motivating to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's motivating to me.
I
So,
like that.
And I just keep it up, keep working.
Man,
So.
If you ain't been in the gym every day, then you probably can't relate to
like,
that.
what is this? What are you talking about?
I was at a point where I was like, I gotta be in the gym every day. But over time, and like, wears you down, especially like I said, that's why I'm asking, how can you keep yourself motivated as an athlete? Because that's really all y'all know is gym life, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
and it's so like, and another, the big motivation, it's what I was alluding to earlier is on this whole journey, right? It's becomes less about me, and there are other people that have been inspired to like chase something that they've been thinking about, dust off a dream that they had.
Right.
And I heard a quote from a coach, right? And this is really what a big driving force. I love kids. I can't wait to have kids one day, and so if I don't give this every bit of my intention, and if I don't chase this until the absolute last stop where I cannot go any further, it is impossible for me to go any further. How can I one day look at, my child who's saying, I have this dream and I want to chase this dream? How can I look at them and say that you can if I am never did?
Never did it.
You know what I mean?
Can't talk about something you never did, man.
I don't ever want that.
Right.
And I think regret is way worse than failure.
Yep.
And I don't ever want to live with that.
God, Lee. That boy dropping gems on y'all.
You see that?
Dropping gems. So let's talk about it then. So I know, like, you got this life overseas now. You pursuing your dream. You do want kids one day, so is that something that you're looking for in the near future, further in the future? Like,
I think for me, when it comes down to family, I am at a point now where I really need to kind of get this stuff out the way.
Yeah.
I really need, personally, I need to get it out the way because, like I said, that regret and that wonder, and I mean, like, even when I'm in the house and I'm cooking, you know what I mean? I'm pacing because I'm thinking about, like, stuff with football. I'm thinking about, like, this and that and the other thing. I really need to clean that out because I've never had kids, but that is a whole nother world.
Different world.
You can tell me, right? That's a whole different world. Absolutely. And, I watched that some of the interview with like Bobby Altov and Wiz Khalifa. You know what I mean? He's like, I go to work for my son. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's a whole nother focus. Yep. You know what I mean? And so I got to clear this out for myself. And so, I think once I know that this is it and it's done, I think that's something that I'll look forward to. So it's probably, at this moment, it's a down the road thing.
Right.
Yes,
Got
down the road.
Got you. So I wanted to really kind of get this one out. So even then, let's talk about like down the road. So what do you see in your future, let's say wife, kids? Like, what do you see yourself in the next like 5-6 years?
Bro, I don't know, man, because I didn't even know where I was going to see myself 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think if I'm blessed with a partner who's patient,
right,
and understanding, and somebody who understands that, I'm not easy to be around and be with, and so just somebody who puts that patience first, and we can communicate. And I think that's somebody that would absolutely want to build with. I mean, let's talk about what's going on.
Right.
I may not be where you want me to be right now, but let's talk about it. We don't need to have this friction, between us and things like that, so that we can, build, moving forward. So I think that's something that's absolutely important, because I pray that everybody in the world finds that dream. Izzy Adesanya said it. He's like, I pray everybody gets to feel this feeling. Like everybody in the world finds that dream that you get to chase, because once you in it, it's a weird thing to describe to somebody who's not. It's obsessive.
It's a beautiful feeling.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, but it can look crazy from the outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But and so just somebody who's patient and understanding, and so like that people who chase dreams, we're not regular people. We're not normal people,
we're crazy, low key.
We are crazy, you know what I mean? And so I think just once those sands run out, and once I've kind of gotten that out, I think me internally, me personally, me spiritually, will be ready to kind of sow those seeds, you know what I mean? And so, because what I don't want in all my relationships, near and far, and I've always said this, I'm very honest about this, I don't want that regret to bleed into those relationships and become and grow into resentment. And so you don't want that, and so that'll erode a relationship.
It's very hard trying to be in love knowing that you're chasing the dream. And I want a lot of people to really understand that. I've said that in like a couple of my songs, man. It's so hard being in love when you got a dream to chase, because it's not all the time that the other person on the other side is going to understand the mind state that you're in. Because if they're not chasing the same dream, or they're not chasing something, they're not really going to understand where you're coming from as a person. So
someone told me too, and like even from their side, it's not. Their support is super important, but it's not their responsibility.
It's not.
You know what I mean? And
absolutely
so
not.
We got to give them grace for the difficult times that they go through too, while you chasing your dream.
Absolutely.
So because it's not their responsibility to hold you up. Hold you down is a different story. You know what I mean? But to like hold your dream up, it's not
the same. It's not the same. That's up to you. And that's why I say shout out to all the people whether you behind the camera, you behind the scenes, whatever it is. Like shout out to the ones that's really supporting the dreams of those creators and those dreamers out there. Because it's hard, bro. It is really hard, and people don't give those people enough credit. They only see the person that's out in front trying to do whatever, but they don't see the people that's behind the scenes. And I can say I'm one of those people. But so we're gonna talk about. You say you're originally from DC, right? So let's give a little background on your history. You want to talk about how you say you're big into photography, right? And how did that come about, man? How was your like upbringing being from DC?
So I grew up in Reston. I grew up in Northern Virginia, so just outside the city, right? But I was born in DC, and so my dad lived in Sursum Corda. He had an apartment on, I can't remember the street, but it's right there, right off New York Avenue, actually. Okay. And so my mom and dad were separated, so I grew up in Northern Virginia. I have a twin sister. We just had a birthday yesterday.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I got a twin sister and an older brother. So we had a birthday yesterday. Shout out JC.
Shout out twin.
Right. And so growing up in Northern Virginia is a stark difference from growing up in DC. And so being in the suburbs, surrounded by like a lot of like a green, a lot of vegetation, and a lot of like my schools in Fairfax County were very much skewed toward the arts. And so everything was done through that kind of lens. And so I always had this like artistic expression. I used to draw. I still kind of draw a little bit. So I used to draw cartoon. And then photography came about, I think, when I was about 14. I saw like some nice pictures. I think I saw a photographer in a movie, and I wanted to break into photography. And, as a kid, photography is kind of one of those things that you got to invest financially into. You can't just say pursue it, just like art. You know what I mean? It's not enough a lot of times just to get a pen and a piece of paper. Sometimes you got to get a set, to get the right tools. And so it was an expensive hobby to break into, and so I never really kind of got the right support around it. Not saying it wasn't supported, but it didn't have the right stuff. And so it was always more of something I had an affinity to, something I was able to do, but nothing I had any structure to. Then I started working at the company that I worked at for the last 10 years, Apple. And so they do a lot of sessions daily where they'll have trainers and they'll teach people how to do photography, videography and things like that. Right. And so being around something like that for 10 years, right? And as technology and smartphones has gotten better and the cameras in your phone are the same or basically similar as a camera you can go out and get. Yeah. And then just being around these classes, you pick up 1 or 2 things a day. Right. And so I would pick up like one new skill and I would work it in, like the rule of thirds or, a panning shot, how to edit a photo, how to adjust the highlight. You know what I mean? If you go into photography settings on your phone, you could do a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
People don't even know it. Half the people don't even know it.
And so I kind of would it was a slow burn. Mm-hmm. And so, I would take these pictures and crop them and edit them. And then I would get into, how to do color gradients and things like that. Just I had the opportunity to work alongside some professional photographers. One of my best friends, used to, he is a professional photographer, gets contracts all over the world, been to China, he's worked with NBA, NBA basketball players and things like that. And so being alongside people like that and just asking, hey man, can you take a look at this? Give me some tips. That's where I'm at now, where I'm like, all right, I know enough about my personal vision, my own, rudimentary photography to say, okay, I know what I'm doing to some extent.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So just kind of learning every day and just taking one thing and applying it, figuring out what you like, what you don't like, and then allowing that to help build your own creative style. Right. So that's how I got into it.
That makes sense. I like that, man. So this going to be the last question I'm gonna give you, and this going to be for our viewers out there. What is some motivation you can give them? Like, what would you say to the people? If they was right here in front of you right now, what would you say to them?
You are you. You are you. When you look at yourself in the mirror, and that thing that you want to do, not what everybody wants you to do, not what everybody thinks that you can do, not that box people put you in. And I know that's something people say a lot. Don't let people put you in a box. Yep. I'm going to tell you how to break out of that. Whatever it is that moves you, causes you to move in your seat, the thing that's like, man, I don't even know what it is, there's something about this. If it wakes you up, and I've always said this, right, especially in the last couple of years, if it wakes you up in the middle of the night and is on your mind and it's a passion, go toward it. Take one step because that's God-given. You know what I mean? And so if you have that kind of stirring, that's just the ember. Feed that fire, because I promise you it'll take you places that you never thought you would have imagined. You never thought you would go, but too many times, we live in a world, especially living in the States, we're fed it. We live in a world where people are like, you gotta do this in this way, this order, that order, do absolutely. This, and then a lot of times people get too old to realize that I never experienced what it was that I really wanted to do. Yeah. So if you have that feeling. And I look, a huge inspiration to my mother is my mother. My mom went through and dealt with so much, being a single parent to 3 kids, twins. Me, I wasn't an easy kid, right? And my mom later in life decided to pursue an acting career. Wow. You know what I mean? And so without even knowing it, that I was watching somebody chase impossible dreams in front of me. So I'm telling you, whatever it is, you can do it. I'm looking at you, right? If it wakes you up, move toward it because you can do it. And like I said earlier, the failure is way worse than regret. It's okay to fail. You don't want to wake up one day and regret that you never tried. So that's it.
If y'all ain't hear it, I heard it. Goddamn it, I heard it. But look, man, y'all know what it is, man. It's the Nothing Average podcast where nothing we do here is average, man. Shout out to my boy, international pro football player Jamaal Dorsey, man. Thank you for pulling up on me, man. Thank you for coming to chop it up with me, dog. Like I said, it's a blessing, man, that you even came here and sat down with me, dog. But I really hope that y'all got something from this. I hope that y'all learned something. I hope that this podcast motivates y'all to keep going and do something different every day, man. If y'all got a business, if you're an artist, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever you do, if you want to come sit down and chop it up with me on this Nothing Average podcast, hit me up, man. Hit us up in the DMs at nothingaveragepodcast@gmail.com. Or just send us a DM, man. We here, bro. All right, man. So look, with that being said, we gone, man. Thank you again. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all, man. We out.